Hello, Naomi here. It's time for another What I Played Last Month. I'm going to be talking about all the games I completed in February 2024. This month I completed 8 games, or 17 depending on how you want to count it, but we'll get to that. I'm planning on making one of these videos every month, so if you want to keep up with what I'm playing, make sure to give a like and subscribe. The first game I completed was Death's Door. This is an action-adventure with fun puzzles and a beautiful art style. I found the combat in this game to be difficult at first, which I did find frustrating, but when you die you don't lose any of your in-game currency, which is what you use to upgrade skills. You don't really level up in this game, you simply improve your skills. Because of the system combined with practice, I did get better at the combat, which made the game more enjoyable for me. Death's Door also has a second true ending hidden behind the standard ending, which I did complete. This is a fantastic game, and I'm so happy I finally played it. Catherine Fullbody on the case calls it an action-adventure puzzle game, but I think of it more as a visual novel puzzle game. But what do I know? This game has 2 distinct parts. One is a mature love story following a guy named Vincent, whom basically is afraid of commitment. Choices you make will influence his love life with 13 possible endings, 3 of which are considered true endings. I got Catherine with a case true ending, which I honestly think was the best way for the situation to end. The second major part of this game is a platforming block puzzle that is really quite fun and can be challenging at times. Now, the 2 parts of the game being quite different, if done poorly, could be jarring, but it's balanced quite well. The player can feel the weight of the choices they're making, and the story is broken up by this fantastic platforming puzzle to keep the player engaged. Cyberpunk 2077. Like so many others, I got extremely hyped for this game during the 2018 E3, but then it launched with so many game-breaking bugs that some called it unplayable. Well, all these years later, there have been many patches and updates for the game, so I decided it was finally time to give Cyberpunk 2077 a try for myself. Now, first of all, were there still bugs? Yes. Twice the game had to be restarted, one of those times losing an entire quest I had completed. There were little things like people or cars being stuck in the air, so yes, still buggy. But I would say that at some of the rock bottom prices you can get this game at now, it's worth a playthrough. The story has a very slow start in my opinion, but it does pick up, and the world that has been created is so interesting. I found myself wanting to know more. There are 6 endings in total. I played through 3 endings. I got Path of Least Resistance, Temperance, and my favorite was called The Star. I just want to mention there is a DLC 7th ending, but I don't own the DLC. I had a fun time with this game, but I'm glad that I waited to play. Brutal Legend is an action strategy game that is a love letter to heavy metal music and stars Jack Black as Eddie Riggs. Jack Black's humor really shines in this game. I don't normally enjoy games where one of the main themes is humor because it can become tiring, but in this game I feel like it's balanced very well, and I didn't tire of it at all. I would say though, going in I was already a Jack Black fan, so I knew his comedy would be in line with my sense of humor. Also, this is a pretty short game. Completing it took about 10 hours. This game really surprised me. I picked it up mostly because I thought it would be funny, which it was, but I stayed because the story was interesting and the battles were more strategic than I was expecting. This was a surprise winner for me. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I played and completed all 9 games in this collection, all in co-op. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about each game individually, but I would like to say that overall these games are fun, easy, quick action-adventure games. I typically enjoy LEGO humor, and I love how, for the most part, they're able to summarize the entire movie so succinctly. I would say, with the exception of Rise of the Skywalker and Revenge of the Sith. The story is a little confusing for those 2 without the context of the movies they're based from. Some of the games in the collection did better with co-op than others. Sometimes the second player didn't really have much of anything to do, while other games it really felt like we were working together as a great team. The worst offender of the bland co-op was Revenge of the Sith. I'm a little all over the board on how I felt about this game as a whole. I enjoyed the humor at times, but I did get tired of it after a while. Some of the installments I enjoyed more than others. I kind of feel like my mistake was playing all 9 games in a row. I should have staggered them between other games. So overall, I guess I'd give the Skywalker Saga a meh. Another Code Recollection is a collection of 2 games. Both are adventure puzzle games with some supernatural and sci-fi themes. The first game, Two Memories, was originally a DS game released in 2005. This is truly a beautiful story about a young girl named Ashley wanting to reconnect with her father and learn more about her own past. She travels to a remote mansion and has to uncover a mystery to unlock memories. The puzzles were on the easy side, but it kept the game going at a good pace. There's also this fun mechanic where you get to find hidden notes throughout the game, and I really enjoyed trying to collect them all. The game for me had this kind of nostalgic feeling where it reminded me of puzzle adventure PC games I used to play as a kid, like the Nancy Drew PC games. The second game is Journey into Lost Memories, which was a Wii game released in 2009, but didn't receive a North American retail release until this Switch version. In this game, Ashley travels to a camping resort, kind of like a KOA, again to meet her father. She meets other teenagers who are all in a band, which we learn that Ashley is now in a band also. There are a lot more characters in the second game, but I didn't connect with any of them the way I did with the characters from the first game. Also, I wouldn't even call the puzzles in this second game puzzles at all. The main puzzle mechanic was just pushing buttons in a sequence shown on screen, and it wasn't even a rhythm challenge to help tie in all the band talk. I felt like the game did pick up once Ashley made it out of the park and into the in-game area, but not enough so that I would recommend the second game. Unfortunately, the second game really lost some of the charm of the first game, which is a shame because the first game was so fantastic. Overall, I'm glad I picked up this collection though, because that's just how much I loved the first game. Dragon Quest XI Definitive Edition. This is a turn-based RPG that is considered a classic, and for good reason. Every single support character is interesting and charming. When playing the definitive editions, you can switch the visuals between the original 2D and the newer 3D art styles. Both versions are beautiful and vibrant. I couldn't decide which one I liked more, although I did end up playing in the 3D art style more often. The combat is fast-paced and engaging. I never got tired of grinding at all. There were moments that made me laugh and even moments that made me cry. I've played other Dragon Quest games before, but this one just blew me away. What a wonderful adventure. Do you know that feeling when you finish something you really love and you feel a little lost without it at first? Well, that was me when I finished this game. Dragon Quest XI was my favorite game of the month by far. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy. This is a collection of 3 games. These are puzzle adventure games where you collect evidence and then have to get to the truth by questioning characters. You can apply pressure on statements made, object to statements, or present evidence that reveals a contradiction. Now, I have a little bit of an embarrassing story about this one. I actually started playing this trilogy well over a year ago. I don't even remember exactly when I had begun playing. I remember I was getting a little frustrated with this one cross-examination, and so I put the game down. I thought maybe I was halfway through the second game, so I decided I should finally pick it back up and finish the games. Well, it turns out I wasn't halfway through. I was at the very end of the third game. Including credits, I probably only had 30 minutes total left. I basically had stopped playing right at the end. So even though I technically finished the third game in this trilogy this month, I barely played it. Well, that's all for this month. January I completed 7 games, so that brings my 2024 games completed total to 15. Or do you think I should be counting games in collection separately? If I were to do that, my total for January and February would be 24. I'm leaning towards counting collections as a single game, but let me know what you think down in the comments. If you're curious about what games I played in January, you can click the link. But until next time, bye and happy gaming!